Shalom everybody, hope you're doing well, hope your week was great, getting ready for Shabbat here in the world, here in the land of Israel. And this week on Shabbat we're learning two Torah portions together as we get very close to the end of the Torah entirely. And this week we're reading two Torah portions called Netzavim and Vayeilech. And there's something to learn from everything in the Torah, even the names of the Torah portions. And this week is something very unique, I believe, in that the names of these two Torah portions that we're reading together, sometimes they're separate and sometimes together, like this year, it's interesting that they're read together because they're complete opposites. Because the word Netzavim is this language of standing. Atem Netzavim, Hayom. Right, we're standing in a place all together. Right, we're not moving. And on the other hand, Vayeilech, which is the second Torah portion of this week, is this language of moving, of you're going. Yalla, move on. Right? And the fact that we're reading these two ideas together, I think is very interesting, especially in this time that we're in right now, mamash at the very end of the year, right before Rosh Hashanah. So a few kind of words or thoughts woven together about this idea. We learn from our tradition that human beings are unique beings in this world, both in the physical realm and in the spiritual realm. How are we unique? We find ourselves living in this physical world, right, surrounded by all these different creatures, bugs, flies, animals, birds, fish, and all the kind, like that. Yet we're distinct from him in terms of the spiritual capabilities that we have, the possibilities of spiritual and moral growth and development and awareness. On the other hand, we also learn from our tradition that there are worlds above our worlds that are not physical, that have spiritual beings, angelic beings, that are purely spiritual without physical form. And these two worlds obviously are very, very different. And the human being, we find ourselves kind of right in the middle. How so, maybe a little bit more specifically, is that we have the movement of this physical realm. We can move, we're physical, we could be, led astray, as we've talked many times before, by our lust and our desires, by our natural kind of animalistic instinct that tells me just to take care of myself and just fulfill all my physical pleasures that could be fulfilled. Yet I have this spiritual nature which tells me, maybe that's not the best thing I should be doing. Maybe there's something higher to reach for. And that's kind of reaching towards these upper spiritual angelic realms. But the beings who live in the angelic realms are called, in Jewish thought, ha'omdim. They're the ones who stand. Why are they called ha'omdim, the ones who stand? Because they don't move. What does that mean that they don't move? That they don't grow. They're in one place. The spiritual beings are an expression of a spiritual state, which means that's where they are. They're static. They don't grow. They don't go up. They don't go down. They are who they are forever. And that's the complete opposite also of the aspect that's within us as human beings. We're growing, or we should be growing all the time. And yes, of course, with growing, with the ability to move forward, which means, it also means I have the ability to fall back. Right? But in the animal realm, there's a sense they can physically move, but they can't spiritually grow. Right? And in the spiritual realm, we have these spiritual beings that are very aware of the holiness that exists in this world and in the spirituality, but they're stuck in this one place. They can't experience the idea of personal achievement and personal growth. Right? But again, in the human being, in the human form, we have both of these ideas intertwined. Right? And we have this ability to kind of be drawn after our physical lust, as we said, the physical world, or we can be drawn towards more higher spiritual aspirations. And in this week's Torah portion, we see, just in the names themselves, we see these two ideas expressed and intertwined. Netzavim, to stand, Vayeilech, movement. Right? And it's this idea that both of these are found within us. We have the aspect of the animal realm, of the earthly realm, and we have the aspect of the angelic realm. And it's up to us in each moment to decide which is the proper one to more strongly express. And I think that idea of choice is strong all the time for people in general, in the Jewish calendar in specific, or the Jewish tradition in specific. But right before Rosh Hashanah, it's the strongest. Right? In this month that we're just coming now to an end in just a few short days, Elul, right? It's a whole month of introspection. It's a whole month of thinking of who am I, who have I been, what am I doing, what do I want to be, how do I get there? All these things. We're constantly encouraged to think and to decide and to make decisions that will move us forward in a strong way. And right before Rosh Hashanah, we can feel that the strongest. Right? And in just a few days, when we get to Rosh Hashanah, we're going to stand. right? We're going to stand for a couple of days. We're going to choose to stand, to take a pause, to take a moment, to take a rest, to look back on this past year that we've just completed. And before we jump into the new year, we're going to take some time to think, and take some time to look within, and take some time to look forward, and think about our lives, and think about how we want to be in the future, based on how we've been in the past, what things we want to continue, what things we want to keep in the past. So right now, this whole time period that we're in, that we're coming to, is these ideas coming together, Netzavim, of standing, and Vayeilech, of moving forward, and movement in general. And it's this constant dance and this constant intertwine in the Jewish tradition of these two ideas and these two expressions. And the last thought I just want to say is that, we know that this Rosh Hashanah is starting a very special year, and that's the Shemitah year. And it's a time of Shemitah, of stepping back, of ideally, if we follow the letter of the law to the T, like we're not working our fields here in the land of Israel. Now, today's world, we do things differently because it's very, very complicated, and to keep up modern economic and agricultural systems needs and requires and begs, for the time being at least, some kind of other way to make this work. But in the ideal form, Shemitah year is a time of stepping back, of not engaging in the physical work that we have been engaged in the past 6 years, specifically agricultural work. And it's a time to release debt, and it's a time to release and just say, what I thought was mine isn't really mine. And it's this real time of kind of standing, I sense, in a very strong way. And another very strong idea in the Jewish tradition is that there's times for everything. There's times for standing, there's times for movement, there's times for inner, and there's times for outer. There's times for war, and there's times for peace. There's times for everything. Everything has a place, and everything has a time. Like the beautiful words of Kohelet, that there's a time for everything in this world. And we just have to know, and the most important thing is to know when is the right time for a specific something. So all those thoughts together, and I'm sure so many more, just intertwine just to give us a blessing that this Shabbat, the last Shabbat of the year, the last Shabbat of the year 5774 in the Jewish tradition, we're looking back at this entire year. We have an ability this Shabbat to kind of take in all the Shabbats that we experienced this year and elevate and fix anything that we didn't yet elevate or that we need to fix. And that this Shabbat should give us the power, the strength, the energy, the motivation, the insight, and the awareness to approach Rosh Hashanah in just a few days, and to begin that year of Shemitah, and to begin this year of standing and looking around and looking within and looking without, and deciding what kind of person do I want to be, what kind of society do I want my society to be, what kind of world do I want my world to be. Because it really all stems from us. Right? We're looking for big global movements and change and all that, but of course we know it all starts with us. It all starts with individuals. As more and more of us individuals move forward on our spiritual development and widen our awareness and deepen our understanding of what life is really about, so that movement is well on its way. So many more things we can say, but we'll just say for now, Shabbat Shalom, sending so much love and so much blessing from the land of Israel. Shabbat Shalom.